In this presentation, we're going to be talking about freedom of speech in public schools, understanding the boundaries that students have, and the powers that be that teachers may have in this situation. My name is Emily Doty, and I will begin. Speech and expression rights have been limited based on educational context, students' age, the writing nature, which would be is it a school-based publication or is it a student-based publication? If it was student-based, did they use school equipment? So there's lots of factors that play into what speech and rights the students do have. Was it written on the school grounds or was it done outside of school? Regardless of these, students in the United States do possess freedom of speech and they do have rights of expression. These rights are not absolute and can be limited by the educational context. So let's discuss some of those limitations. To understand the freedom of expression, students have the right to speak, write, or express themselves without censorship or restraint. In the school setting, that is allowed as long as it does not interrupt education. So schools can set rules for safety and order so that someone's freedom of expression does not disrupt education and learning in the school. Administrators can review publications fairly, avoiding abuse to suppress content. Student journalists have limited rights in school-sponsored publications to maintain educational standards. So if it's school-sponsored, the school has all the rights to read through it and talk with the journalist and see if it's appropriate to be put out as a school publication. Now, educational institutions often face challenges in balancing this free expression, but also maintaining a respectful, inclusive environment. Censorship and self-censorship can hinder open dialogue and limit the students' ability to voice their opinion. So there has to be a balance. It has to be where the students have the freedom of speech. They can learn to argue their point, to give their opinion, but without using language that's not allowed, or without causing uprisings in the school, or without encouraging students to walk out of class or to stage a riot. There are peaceful ways to argue your opinion and to express that. Okay, context matters. Okay, context matters in all of these things we're talking about. So in this particular instance, the nature of the writing, we just talked about disruption of educational environment or infringing upon others' rights. You can't do that. So creating an environment that encourages respectful dialogue, active listening, all of these are important in the freedom of expression being allowed in the school system. It's important that they embrace diverse perspectives and have open communication that improves the educational experiences of these students. The school's rights. Schools have the right to create rules and policies that maintain the order, safety, and well-being of students. That is the most important job we have as educators, is to teach students how to have their opinion and express what they are wanting to say while maintaining order and safety and protecting the students' well-being. These policies may impose limitations on speech and expression within the school setting. But as educators, I feel like it's our job to work with students to show them how to express themselves in a positive way that does not cause issues in the school setting. Now, the students' rights. Students have the right to express views that don't disrupt school operations. Fairness in the review process is essential. Now, let's look at that review process. Okay, student journalists' rights are limited if in school-sponsored publications. I read this in the Student Press Law Center on the website. The censorship upheld in a court case in Hazelwood School District v. Kohlmeyer for various reasons. The school administrators can review the school-funded publications within defined parameters, and that was in our textbook. The textbook says the parameters include reason, time frame, responsible parties, and specific material. Abuse of this process to suppress objectionable content is cautioned against. Now, as I talked about earlier, students may create a non-school sponsored newspaper, and they have more protection if it's produced off campus, not using school resources. Then they have more freedom of what they're allowed to put out. In conclusion, upholding freedom of expression in an educational setting is vital for fostering student empowerment and civic participation. Understanding these complexities of freedom of speech in public schools is very important. Now, balancing these student rights with the school policies creates this conducive learning environment where students feel safe to journal and express opinions in a safe environment. These are the references for the court case I referenced and a reference in our textbook that I used. All right, thank you for your time.